Hey class, hope everybody's doing well and enjoying the first couple weeks of our new class. I know I am. I know it's been very interesting to look at culture in kind of a different light and different ways. Also excited for this being our first video post. I love doing the video posts. I think they're really fun and cool that we get to interact with each other in that way, especially when doing online school and we don't get to be face to face very often, really ever. But yeah, so I'm going to jump right into it. What are some short-term examples of or short-term changes with little lasting impact? Um, Fun fact about myself: I used to be a fashion merchandising major, so I'm going to talk about fashion for a little bit because this is something that's very cultural. Fashion is always it ranges in different cultures, and you always see different styles of fashion wherever you go. It's something that actually drew me to becoming a fashion merchandising major. I'm not anymore, of course, because I'm here. Um, but it was really cool to see the different types of clothing that people wear, the different styles just across just a city that you see, and it's cool. And it's um, the thing about fashion is that it's constantly evolving, it's constantly changing, and it's a short term change. So usually fashion trends last around like shortest like 4 months, longest to like a year. Um, and those are very short-term changes, and they have a short-term impact because these changes are, of course, affecting what people are wanting to buy. They're affecting what people are wearing, just what you see the majority of people in is determined by these fashion stages, these trends. And the thing about the trends is they're always evolving, like I said. So it's the short term. It's a short term change in the trend that has a very short term effect on the people who are wearing the clothes. Um, and again, this is one of the reasons why I went into fashion merchandising. I thought it was so cool that it's something that's constantly evolving, and it's like something you have to be on your toes. And a big part of the class that I was taking and the classes that I was taking was predicting those trends. So it's something that you have to look at and you say, hey, what's going to be popular? What's going to be the next change in 4 to 6 months? Um, so that was an example I thought of personally for short term. Now, when we think of long term, um, when we think of long term, it's hard not to talk about the election that's going on right now and the politics and politics in general, really. Um, Specifically talking about the presidency. Um, I'm 22, so this is really kind of the second election I've paid attention to. I paid attention 4 years ago, um, but now being a little older, kind of understanding more, been paying attention and reflecting back 4 years ago um, on the changes that have happened, and then also hearing stories about presidencies and things that happened during presidencies a long time ago that are still in place today. These are the long-term changes that I think we're talking about, or the author was talking about in our textbook, and he even uses an example of politics, and I thought it was fitting because I'm filming this on the 3rd, so watching the numbers come in and just everything happening. Um, but it got me thinking again. I was reflecting back on what I was thinking 4 years ago and how I've seen the change. So President Trump becoming president, and then that being the change, and then now the effect, and it's all the things that he has done throughout his presidency, and if so, continuing on with his presidency. Those are those long term, again, those long term changes that we see when we're peeling back these layers of culture. And I think it's really interesting to look at culture like this, um, because when we're able to differentiate the levels of a culture, again, the short term and the long term, I think we can gain a better understanding of what that culture is. When we look at again, use my example, the fashion of a culture, we can see the short term changes, the short term patterns that culture is going through, and how quickly they're changing things. And I think another one that I am passionate about as well is food. That's another short term change. I think styles of food is constantly changing, constantly evolving, um, in a culture. Um, but then we're also able to look at these long term things, and we're able to look back multiple years, even generations, and see the effects of those long term things still in place today. So yeah, I think it's a really interesting take and interesting look on on how to look at culture in this lens. And I really like the quote: "The faster a given layer of culture changes, the less long-term effect it has on the horizons of possibility and impossibility." And I think that's so true. I think that in time, there's an aspect of time that really helps develop something, and you can tell that in time there's a lot of care that goes into that decision, and it kind of goes into our week 2 discussion question of creating and cultivating, and that the cultivation is the thing that takes the most time, and it's the thing that usually produces something really, really beautiful. So yeah, those are some of my thoughts. I'm very excited to hear what you guys have to say, and like I said, very excited to be in this class with everybody. Hope everybody's doing well.